Let's dive right into this explainer by confronting a feeling I think we've all experienced recently. There's this jarring, almost visceral contrast right now between the fast, blurry, neon rush of digital AI productivity and the slow, deliberate, warm textures of deep human thinking. You know what I mean, right? It's that AI magic illusion. That incredible rush of instant, completely frictionless output when ChatGPT or Claude spits out a perfect essay or report in mere seconds. But what is that magic actually doing to our brains? Well, the answer lies in some pretty hard scientific evidence. In fact, a landmark 2025 study just published in the British Journal of Educational Technology provides an absolute wake-up call for anyone using AI on a daily basis.
And this brings us face to face with the psychological reality of what researchers are calling the brain drain. I want you to ask yourself honestly, are you becoming an AI-empowered expert or an AI-dependent amateur? Think about it. When you fire up these tools to blast through your daily workflow, are you actually learning the material and mastering your craft? Or are you kind of just sitting back, watching the machine perform the task for you while your own skills slowly atrophy?
The researchers behind the 2025 British Journal of Educational Technology study hit the nail on the head, explicitly stating that AI technologies such as ChatGPT may promote learners' dependence on technology and potentially trigger something they call metacognitive laziness. That phrase, metacognitive laziness, is the absolute crux of our explainer today. Without even realizing it, we are quietly outsourcing our internal intellectual processing to external algorithms.
So let's break this down. Part 1, the inquiry. We're going to look at the actual science behind metacognitive laziness. Now, metacognition is literally thinking about thinking. It's the process of regulating your own mind. In a lot of Eastern philosophies, the concept of kung fu literally translates to any skill acquired through hard work, discipline, and time. It's about the process. But when we outsource our internal cognitive gym to an algorithm, we completely offload the crucial steps of that intellectual growth. We stop planning an approach, we stop monitoring our progress, and we stop critically evaluating our own work. The task gets finished, sure, but our brains haven't lifted a single weight.
To truly grasp why this happens, we have to talk about the biological concept of cognitive disfluency. See, System 1 thinking is fast, intuitive, and frictionless. It's exactly the kind of output generative AI provides. But true learning scientifically requires System 2 thinking. It requires being slow, analytical, and deliberate. You literally need the friction. The struggle of staring at a blank page is biologically necessary to forge new neural pathways. By removing the friction, AI secretly strips away the exact mechanism required for human learning.
To test this phenomenon, the researchers ran a super rigorous lab study. They took 117 university students and gave them complex reading and writing assignments. And the behavioral tracking data here is just fascinating. The AI group heavily relied on ChatGPT in a closed loop. Every single time they hit a roadblock during their revision stage, instead of thinking critically, they just bounced the text right back to the AI. They completely bypassed the deep analytical reading processes utilized by the control group and the human expert group. Essentially, they replaced the struggle of learning with a simple prompt.
Which leads us to Part 2, the illusion of competence and the massive gap between performance and actual learning.
So, the data reveals a pretty terrifying realization about modern productivity. The ChatGPT group achieved absolutely incredible short-term essay score improvements. They generated beautiful, highly optimized text. In fact, they even outperformed the students who were paired with highly experienced human experts. From a pure task completion and productivity standpoint, the AI looked like an absolute miracle tool.
But here is the devastating catch: 0. That is the amount of significant difference in actual knowledge gain or knowledge transfer between the AI group and the control group, who, by the way, had absolutely zero help. Let that sink in for a second. The AI users turned in a significantly better essay, but when tested afterward on their actual cognitive grasp of the material and their ability to transfer that knowledge to a new context, they learned absolutely nothing more than the students who did it entirely on their own.
You're probably wondering, how is it even possible to get such high scores without actually learning anything? Well, the researchers observed that the AI group basically achieved high performance by gaming the criteria. They bypassed the actual task instructions entirely and just copy-pasted optimized output from the AI directly into their assignments. And perhaps most alarmingly, there was zero significant boost in their long-term intrinsic motivation. They performed highly for sure, but at the direct expense of developing genuine, transferable human skills. So how do we fix this? That brings us to part 3, the spark, building the orchestrator habits.
Look, we cannot and absolutely should not abandon this technology. Instead, we need a Renaissance mindset. We need to find that yin and yang, balancing the ultimate power of machine efficiency with the irreplaceable depth of human intellect. We call this the orchestrator habit, and it's built around a simple 3-step protocol known as the metacognitive pause: orient, scaffold, and evaluate. This framework is specifically designed to keep your brain actively lifting the cognitive weights while the AI merely spots you like a trainer at the gym.
Step 1 is to orient. This is all about explaining the logic to yourself first. Before you ever physically touch your keyboard to type a prompt, you must clearly articulate your own logic, your task goals, and your underlying strategy. You literally have to intentionally force that essential cognitive friction back into the process. If you can't explain to yourself what you want to achieve and why, you are simply not ready to ask an AI to do it. Establish your own mental model first.
Step 2 is to scaffold. Now, this requires a massive shift in how we view these tools. You must treat generative AI not as a ghostwriter that does the work for you, but as a strategic sparring partner. Use the AI to challenge your blind spots. Ask it to provide counterarguments to the mental model you just established, or have it quiz you on your weak points. Use the machine to guide your active learning, rather than just letting it generate the final output.
Finally, step 3 is evaluate. We call this using AI as the critical mirror. When the AI inevitably generates output, you do not just blindly copy and paste it to save time. No way. You must rigorously judge its output against your original standard and your own mental model. You must intentionally keep the heavy responsibility of critical judgment squarely on your own shoulders. Ask yourself, does this actually align with my goals? Is the logic sound? By doing this, you remain the orchestrator, and the AI remains just a tool.
If we fail to build these intentional habits, we are going to quietly and willingly outsource our intellect to algorithms. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to look right at the reality of your daily habits and ask yourself this final, provocative question every single time you open a generative AI tool. Are you actively learning, or is the machine just performing for you?
Get inspiration, spark innovation. Don't forget to subscribe for more.